Have you ever wondered why some men walk into a room and instantly command respect without saying a single word? Not because they're the loudest, not because they're dressed in the most expensive suit, but because their presence feels solid, like unshakable granite. What if I told you that presence isn't something you're born with? It's something you build, and it's been mastered for thousands of years by warriors, leaders, and thinkers who lived long before Sigma male was even a phrase. In fact, the secret comes down to 3 powerful Stoic principles. Principles so strong, they can not only make you more respected, but could literally transform how women see you, how men treat you, and how you see yourself. And trust me, by the time you finish this video, you'll understand exactly how to use them in your own life. So before we dive in, do me a favor. If you're serious about leveling up mentally and emotionally, hit that subscribe button, drop a like so this video reaches more men on the same path, and make sure you watch this all the way through, because missing even one of these principles could mean missing the thing that changes your entire love life. All right, let's get into it. I want to start with a story. A few years ago, I was sitting in a coffee shop, laptop open, working on something important. Across the room, a guy walked in. He wasn't flashy, plain black t-shirt, jeans, no expensive watch, no designer shoes. He ordered his coffee, found a seat, and just sat there, sipping slowly, scrolling through his phone like the rest of us. But here's the weird part, people noticed him. Not because he was loud, but because he wasn't. There was no nervous fidgeting, no desperate scanning of the room for validation. He looked like he was in his own world, calm, collected, and untouchable. And I thought to myself, that guy? That's what modern men call a Sigma. Later I realized what made him magnetic wasn't mystery or arrogance. It was that he embodied certain timeless Stoic principles without even trying. Principles that go back to Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca. Principles that, if you adopt them, can make you mentally bulletproof in a noisy, chaotic world. Today, we're going to talk about 3 of them. Principle number 1, control what you can, let go of the rest. Let me take you back to a night you might remember in your own way. That night when you were waiting for a text. You know the one I'm talking about. Maybe you were sitting there, phone in hand, every few minutes glancing at the screen. You'd sent that message earlier. Something simple, something that should have gotten a quick reply. But instead, nothing. And as the minutes turned into hours, your mind started doing that thing. It started playing games with you. Did I say something wrong? Are they ignoring me? Are they with someone else right now? I've been there. I think every guy watching this has been there. And in that moment, your peace, your focus, your entire mood is in someone else's hands. This is exactly what the Stoics warned us about over 2,000 years ago. They said some things are up to us and some things are not. Here's the harsh truth: whether they reply, how they feel, what they decide to do, that's not in your control. You can't reach into their mind and change it. You can't snap your fingers and make them care. But you can control something else, yourself. You can control what you do in that moment, how you respond, and how much power you give to things outside your control. Let me tell you about a guy I knew. Let's call him Ryan. Ryan was head over heels for this girl, Emily. She was smart, beautiful, funny, the kind of person you don't just meet every day. They'd been texting for weeks, meeting up, laughing, and sharing little inside jokes. But then one day, Emily started taking longer to reply. Hours turned into a full day. Ryan panicked. He started sending more texts, overthinking, replaying every word he'd said. He even called me up one night, pacing in his room, saying, "Man, I think I blew it. She's slipping away, I can feel it." You know what I told him? I said, "Look, maybe she's busy. Maybe she's not feeling it. Either way, that's her choice. Your job isn't to control her, it's to control you." That was hard for him to hear, but it clicked. Instead of drowning in anxiety, he shifted his focus. He hit the gym. He worked on his side hustle. He spent time with friends. And here's the interesting part: within a week, Emily was back texting him more than ever. Why? Because she could feel the shift. He wasn't needy. He wasn't chasing. He wasn't trying to bend reality to his will. He was living in his own lane, controlling his own actions. This is the first Stoic principle every Sigma should live by. Focus your energy on what you can actually control and release everything else. The weather? Out of your control. Someone's feelings? Out of your control. Your mindset, your actions, your habits, 100% yours. And here's the kicker. When you stop clinging to things you can't control, you gain something far more powerful. Freedom. Freedom to act without fear. Freedom to love without desperation. Freedom to live without waiting for permission. Principle number 2, reframe every obstacle. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a moment in love where you thought, this is it? This is perfect, and then out of nowhere it all falls apart? Maybe you were dating someone and things were going amazing. Every date felt like it could be in a movie. She'd look at you, laugh at your stupid jokes, send you goodnight texts with little heart emojis. You started imagining the future, trips together, maybe even meeting each other's families. And then, something changed. Her texts got colder. She canceled plans. She said, I just need some space. Or maybe she didn't even explain, she just disappeared. That sinking feeling in your chest, that's heartbreak. And in that moment, it feels like your entire world just crumbled. This is exactly where the second Stoic principle comes in. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Translation? The thing that feels like it's ruining, you might actually be the thing that builds you. Let me tell you about Alex, a guy I met through a mutual friend. Alex was in love with a girl named Mia. They'd been together for 2 years, and he thought she was the one. Then one day, out of nowhere, Mia ended it. No big fight, no cheating scandal, just, I don't feel the same anymore. For weeks, Alex couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. His friends would invite him out and he'd just say, nah man, not in the mood. He kept replaying the breakup in his mind, like it was a movie he couldn't stop watching. But one night, sitting alone in his apartment, he asked himself a question that changed everything. What if this isn't the end of my story, but the start of my next chapter? Instead of drowning in what he lost, he reframed it. Mia leaving wasn't a punishment, it was a push. A push to get fit again, a push to travel, a push to rediscover the hobbies and passions he'd put aside while in the relationship. 6 months later, Alex was in the best shape of his life, running his own online business, and ironically, had more women interested in him than ever before. The obstacle became the way. Sigma men do this naturally. They don't see rejection as the end. They see it as redirection. They don't let heartbreak break them. They let it forge them. So the next time love punches you in the gut, ask yourself, how can I make this work for me instead of against me? Because sometimes, the thing you think is blocking your path is your path. Principle number 3, live by internal standards, not external validation. I want you to remember the first time you tried to impress someone you liked. Maybe it was in high school. You wore your best shirt, styled your hair, maybe even wore cologne for the first time. You acted a little different, said things you thought they wanted to hear. But here's the question, were you being you, or were you being the version of you that you thought they'd like? See, most men spend their whole lives performing for approval. If she laughs, you feel on top of the world. If she ignores you, you feel invisible. It's an emotional roller coaster and someone else is driving. The Stoics would call this slavery to opinion. Sigma men reject that entirely. They live by what I call the inner scorecard. Your own set of values, your own rules, your own definition of success. Let me share the story of Daniel. Daniel was crazy about a girl named Sophie. She was gorgeous, popular, and had this effortless charm that made everyone like her. The first few weeks they talked, Daniel was himself, funny, confident, grounded, but then he started noticing that Sophie seemed to like certain types of guys. Guys who dressed a certain way, guys who went to certain parties. Slowly, Daniel started changing, not because he wanted to, but because he thought that's what she wanted. He stopped wearing what he liked. He stopped hanging out with certain friends. He even started pretending to like music he didn't care about, just to fit her world. And guess what? It didn't work. Sophie lost interest anyway. Heartbroken, Daniel realized something. He'd abandoned himself to chase someone else's approval, and in the end, he lost both. That's when he made a decision. From now on, he would live by his standards. If he liked a shirt, he'd wear it. If he wanted to spend Friday night working on his music instead of going out, he'd do it. If someone liked him, great. If not, also fine. Months later, Daniel wasn't just more confident, he was magnetic. People could sense that he was real, unshaken by opinions. Ironically, he started attracting better women, deeper friendships, and more respect because he wasn't trying to please everyone. When you stop living for validation and start living for yourself, you become untouchable. Not because you don't care about others, but because you don't need their approval to feel whole. That's Sigma, that's Stoic, that's powerful. You know, love and life have this strange way of testing us. Sometimes it's a text that never comes. Sometimes it's a heartbreak you didn't see coming. Sometimes it's just the quiet battles you fight inside your own head. But if you live by these 3 Stoic principles, control what you can, let go of the rest, reframe every obstacle, live by your own standards, you stop being tossed around by life and you start steering it. And here's the wild thing. When you stop chasing love, respect, and approval, they start finding you. Not because you're playing games, but because you've become the kind of man who doesn't need them to feel whole. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.